see through. Come on, Drake. Tomorrow, Monday, Drake is on Drink Champ.
Say that you a lesbian.
Drink Champ.
Well, you heard it there first, folks. Apparently, Drake is going to end up on Drink Champs. I'm not excited.
No?
No, I'm not excited for this. I think Nori does a great job and he's very entertaining. But I think that Nori is going to ask all the questions that anyone would expect him to ask, which is great. You want your questions answered. But let me just come out and say, I think that he should have went on Joe Budden's podcast just because there's more of a history there. I've never heard anything about Drake and Nori. I've heard nothing about that. To me,
that could be the reason why it's a great idea for him to go on the show then, because there's no history of no beef. There's not going to be any type of animosity. Nori, if you watch his Drink Champs interviews, he actually asks the questions that people like want to ask. He doesn't shy away from the topics or anything like that.
Yeah, I know. I just said that.
And there's a rumor. Well, I'm just saying there's a rumor that he's going to be asking Drake about his beef with DMX, RIP. So if that's true, from what I've heard, I want to hear just that. I'm willing to watch it just for that part, because that's been a question I've had forever.
Drink Champ interviews could be 2 to 3 hours. So unless Drake is spending an hour talking about his issues with DMX, RIP, this is going to be boring. So even if he went and sat down with Joe Budden and Joe Budden didn't ask him, or let's just say he said, no, out of respect for D, I don't even want to talk about that. He didn't even want it. It would still be hella interesting because those two have a relationship. To use your words, they have beef. The tension alone would just make it interesting. And also, I feel like Budden will get more to the shits. He won't let stuff slide because of that previous, I'd say previous, maybe they're still going on, but because of that animosity, Joe won't let Drake give that general answer. That's what I think would be. And I think that Budden deserves that, not to negate the work that Drink Champs has put in, but I think the Joe Budden podcast deserves that interview over Drink Champs. I said
I don't know. I remember watching an interview that Drake did with Elliot Wilson like a few years ago, and that interview was like 2 hours long, the full interview. And that interview was very interesting. I found that interview very interesting. Of course, at that time he had the beef going on with Meek Mill and his drama with Nicki Minaj. Like, there was a whole lot more public going on that he had to deal with at the time. But I'm saying there's issues that he's had right now, especially the things that's going on with him and Ye, the things that's going on with him and Pusha still. He can talk about how him and Nicki Minaj how they reconciled and all that stuff, his situation with Birdman. There's lots of stuff that he could talk about that he hasn't spoken on, because the thing about Drake, what makes his interview so interesting is that he doesn't do them so often. So when time comes for him to do an interview, everybody's going to tune in because he's going to have something to say, because there's going to be so much time in between the last time he's actually spoken on behalf of himself, and we're not reading it from a headline or a newspaper article or something like that.
Well, yeah, that's the whole science. That's why Kendrick doesn't do a lot of press. That's why J. Cole doesn't do a lot of press. They keep that artistic mystique about them. Although Drake does a lot of social media, which kind of dilutes that. But that's the whole reason why artists like that don't do a lot of press. So when they do speak, they listen, which is great. I'm not saying the interview isn't going to be good. Of course it's going to be good. He doesn't talk a lot, so it's going to be good. I just think the conversation would be a more entertaining conversation if it came from Budden. But
Drake's not concerned about. I think Drake is more concerned about doing or getting an interview or doing an interview for somebody that he actually fucking likes. Yeah, he's not trying to do an interview to help. He's not trying to do an interview to help you get more views on your page, because yeah, he might end up working a deal where he gets some money from it, but most likely he's just gonna I'd rather do it for one of my homies for free.
In case y'all didn't know, YouTube is not our biggest fan. They be showing our videos to some people. Sometimes they don't. Some people get notifications. Some people don't. And you know what? It's because we like to speak our opinion on this. Two guys doing a podcast. We got two very unique opinions every single time. So what we need you to do is we need you to drop a like, okay? I'm going to need you to drop a like, okay? It's going to help the algorithm, help our page get seen, help people hear our opinions, okay? Let's break the YouTube code. Drop a like right now, all right? Let's get back to the video.
When Drake sits down with Nori, it's going to be great times, as it should. But guess what? I'm not a product of the internet. I'm not of this generation, but I've experienced it long enough to know that I like the shits. When I watch,
you fucked up. You're fucked up.
When I watched the Whack 100 and Tekashi interview, as horrible as it is, I was entertained, and it was 3 hours long. I don't want to see Drake sitting down there talking about shit that he's already addressed in his music. I heard it already. I don't need it in spoken word now. I heard the song. So I'm not going to hear anything new. I would prefer the Budden Drake podcast. My opinion.
Some people watch interviews for the interviews, and then there's other people.
I'm the other people, and there's a lot of
Shut up. No.
there's a lot of me out there. Viewing public, what are your thoughts here? Do you think this interview is going to be good? What interview do you think would be more entertaining? Because in fact, that's why you go on to YouTube. That's why you watch a movie. That's why you do a lot. You want to be entertained. You step away from your reality, which is boring as F, to be entertained. So which one do you think would be more entertaining? Budden and Drake, or Nori and Drake? Not saying who's the better interview. I'm talking about entertainment. Leave it in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And after the interview's out, we'll be back to talk about that too. Deuces.
And how entertaining it was.
It could go either way.
Yo, thanks for watching that video, making it all the way to the end. You made it this far, you have to like. Please subscribe and comment on the video as well. Join the conversation.
Absolutely. We finally hit our goal of 500 subscribers. Yes, we are trying to get to 1,000, and we can only do that with your help. You can start by watching that next video. You see that tiny little icon? Click on that icon, rinse and repeat. Deuces.
Deuce.